Chapter 1, I'm going to show you a video. And I want you during this video to have a mindful eye to what's going on in your body. I want you to pay attention to what your body is doing, to how your heart rate is feeling, to how tense your muscles are, to the flush in your cheeks. If you're listening along at home and you don't have the recording in front of you, the same still works. I want you to spend the time listening. For your information, we are watching a scene of a really nice beach where the waves are rolling gently up onto the shore. The water is nice and dark and blue and looks very clean and inviting. So I'm going to play you that video now. So, what did you learn? What did you get in your body? Did you have sensations of being relaxed, of your muscles being relaxed, of your face relaxing, fairly calm heart rate? It feels a little bit like music in a scene that you might see when you're going to get a massage on a tropical beach, yeah? And it's not just what you're looking at, it's not just your objective observation of what you're seeing, right? You're actually relaxing. Your physiology is responding to what you're seeing, okay? I'm going to play you another video, and for the players listening along rather than watching along, we're looking at the exact same scene. Same beach, same rolling, lulling waves, same blue water. Now how's your body feeling? Tense? Maybe a little bit of nervous giggle when you realized what was happening? Maybe your heart rate increases? For those of you like me who have a genuine phobia that sort of blood rushes up to your ears, you can hear a little bit of pumping. And it's not just what you're seeing, right? Your body changed. Your body, when you are watching a scary movie, for example, is different. It is tense. And the feedback loop between what you're seeing and what is happening in your body, and therefore how you see the scenario, is real. Because in each of those scenarios, nothing changed about the scene. We are looking at the exact same beach. I didn't change the speed of the videography. Same everything. The situation is neutral. The thing that changed is the story in your head. What took an objective, neutral circumstance into being relaxing or terrifying and making your body react as if you were in threat is nothing other than the story that you are telling yourself that accompanies. And we do this in real life. And this is where the power of a narrative becomes so important. What you are telling yourself about your job, about our profession, about your colleagues, about what's going to happen today, about how bad it's going to be if we're busy. The story that we're telling ourselves changes how our body reacts to it. And that feedback loop of thinking it'll be stressful, so your body feeling stress, so you're feeling more stress, so you then interpreting the situation more stressfully, it's a toxic, nasty spiral that you can get trapped in really easily. Who drives to work dreading things and then you have a whole bunch of confirmation bias that it really was that bad? Who dreads talking to somebody that you don't get along very well with and then spends the whole time hating it? How much of that is because of the story in your head rather than the actual objective scenario? So, that's what we call your shark music. All right. What is going on in your head that you are bringing to a scenario that has nothing to do with the scenario? All right. What narrative are you applying to your job, to your workplace, to your boss, to your colleagues, to your clients, to that difficult patient? And how is that changing your experience of the thing? So, by knowing this, we can be more aware of what is happening when this happens. When are we dreading a thing with no objective evidence for the fact that the thing's worth dreading? When are we looking at a list of consults and thinking that it's going to be terrible when actually it could be totally fine? So I want you to be able to identify when this is happening to you and when your body is responding to an objective scenario with a story. And I want you to look at how do you change that music in your head? How do you try to find another story to apply to the situation? Remember, we talked about the confirmation bias of the narrative of our profession. How do we go out and look for a new narrative of people who love our profession? And another option you can do to, if you're really struggling with this concept, is to choose a counter story. Okay, the fact that you know the scenario is objective, but how we experience it is not. So here's a good example. All right, you're out at the bank one day, you're doing banking for your boss, dropping the weekly takings at the bank, and a bank robber comes in and starts making threats, and then the gun goes off, and then you get shot in the leg. So there's two ways that one can look at this. All right. Firstly, you can look at this that I am a really unlucky person. Of all of the banks in all of the world, why did they have to walk into mine? And of all of the dozens of people in the bank, why did they have to shoot me? This isn't fair. I am so unlucky. Life sucks. Or the counter story. Of all of the banks in all the world, they walked into mine. The gun went off, and the little kid next to me did not get shot. I got shot in the leg, which is much better than a lot of places. And now I get 6 weeks off work to recover. Both true, both potential stories that are equally valid for the same scenario. And the only thing that changes here is the narrative. Now, again, remember, I'm not pro toxic positivity. I don't believe that you have to look at the silver lining of anything. These are choices that we can make when in a scenario is objective, because it happened. All right. There was no good or bad until we put our interpretation onto the situation. And our interpretation is in our control. So there's a saying, I don't actually know the true origins of this story. The story I've heard is that it's ancient American proverb whereby there's two wolves, right? And they're always fighting. There is a a white wolf that represents light and goodness and wisdom and knowledge and kindness. And there is a black wolf that represents, jealousy and envy and nastiness and badness and pollution and all of the things bad, right? And these two wolves are constantly at war, a little bit yin and yang. They're just always trying to play each other off. They're always fighting. And the proverb asks the question, well, which wolf wins? The correct answer is whichever one you feed. If you are feeding the black wolf, he's going to get stronger and stronger every time. And the white wolf will still keep putting up a fight because this is an eternal struggle, isn't it? But he gets smaller and more diminished compared to the well-fed, rapidly growing wolf. So while the stuff out there is good and is bad, there is bad in your day. There are frustrating clients. There are patients that want to eat you. Our profession does have some issues. Your boss may be incompetent or worse. There will always be good and bad, though. Look at all the great things we have in our lives. Look at the things you got to do today, the stuff that people would kill for, as a job, all of the joy that we get to bring to people's lives, the small moments that we do get to enjoy what we're doing, the family or the support systems that you do have. There is always going to be good and bad, and the one that is going to be overwhelming for you is the one that you feed the most.